Hi, everybody. This is the Omnia Intel Podcast, where we give you the latest information on business, marketing, strategy, and technology to help you increase and retain your business. In other words, more money. My name is Richard Bryant, and beside me every week is Tony Reed. We are two of the three founders of Omnia Strategics. And now, Tony Reed.
Thank you, Richard. And as I said, welcome to our very first podcast.
And now the news.
In the interest of feeding people's paranoia, the Senate approved warrantless phone tapping until 2017. The vote was 73-23. It was also signed by President Obama. This authorizes phone surveillance of Americans without a warrant for counterterrorism purposes. But you don't do anything wrong, so it's all right. Also, in the interest of overreaching surveillance, it's become an increasingly common practice amongst employers to require employees to provide their username and their password for their Facebook accounts when they're hired. On Friday, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder signed House Bill 5523, which makes this practice illegal throughout the state. Now, if you're looking for good employees, Mashable has published a list of 3 things you must do to recruit top talent. One of those things is to recruit top people to train. If you're looking to become employed, they've also published a list of 4 things to leave off your resume. One notable item was unrelated skills or achievements. Surprisingly, companies hiring computer programmers don't particularly want to know if you can make spaghetti using only your feet. On the lighter side of it, Gallo Communications interviewed Rosalind Searcy. They've dubbed her America's Happiest employee. Rosalind works for Zappos in Henderson, Nevada. They're a successful online shoe retailer, and they have a reputation for being a great company to work for. If you're a business owner, Forbes magazine has published an article you shouldn't miss about big data analytics. According to Forbes, it's not just for big business anymore. We've been saying that for quite a while. Now, the cost-effective nature of gathering and segmenting information can, and most likely will, dramatically increase your business. The article goes on to discuss several small businesses that have used big data to some astounding results. Even a strawberry shortcake bakery which saw a 1,000% spike in their business. If you use Google Chrome, you may have had some issues over the weekend. Chrome began blocking TwitPic. The block was due to a server error on TwitPic. If you're still having issues, TwitPic suggests you access your account through TweetDeck or some other non-Chrome application. Just get your pictures out there. Earlier this week, if you were on Google Finance and searched for the word sell, you would have been directed to Apple. Google claims it was a product of their algorithm and not part of any effort to undermine Apple stock. They have since corrected this. In September of this year, Pakistan blocked YouTube access to its citizens based on the assertion that the Benghazi incident was sparked by a video ridiculing the Prophet Muhammad. Pakistani leaders feared riots amongst their own population. Last Saturday, that ban was lifted, but 3 minutes later, the ban was reinstated. That was because of a discovery that offensive material was still there. In the meantime, Real SEO reports that YouTube has been cracking down on what they call black hats. Black hats are any method of fake viewing. A few days ago, users were chatting on boards wondering what had happened to all of their views. YouTube's admin quickly answered by saying this was not a bug or a security breach, it was an enforcement of our view count policy. Some users have been using automated bots to pump up the purported viewership of their videos or using deceptive means to entice others to view their videos. Among the more notable users affected by these changes were 3 big record companies, Universal, Sony BMG, and RCA Records, who lost over 2 billion views combined. Over the weekend, Foursquare changed its privacy policy to mirror those instituted by Instagram, but, fearing the same backlash, also stated the changes were for default settings and can be easily reversed by each user in their personal settings. Of interest to business owners, however, is that instead of only seeing the names and info of your customers over the past 3 hours, you may now review all of your visitors for the day. This change was made to accommodate the busy schedules of smaller business owners. If you scheduled a message through Facebook's New Year's message service, your friends may never get it. A flaw was discovered in the service. It compromised the privacy of you and every friend you messaged, and did so with a single URL that could have been easily accessed by savvy hackers. Instead of fixing the vulnerability, the service was scrapped. Facebook has had a bumpy year, and Mashable made sure they never forget it. They published a list of 7 bad moves that hurt the social network in 2012. They also published a list of 12 buzzwords you'll hear in 2013. The list includes a term we are already throwing about in the Omnia Strategics office, advertainment, something we prescribe for a successful video marketing campaign. You must make sure that your advertisements are actually entertainment and tell a decent story, especially if you're going to use it for some attempt at viral marketing. And that's really the news for now.
And now the big data.
At this point in time, I'd like to take a moment and just explain something. The midpoint of our show is going to be where we give some commentary and even some predictions on where business and marketing is going. It's sort of a midway between our business and marketing news and our technology news. It's the technology, though, that I'm addressing today. Now, I can already see people commenting about our technology section because we cover some topics that, well, they may seem a little off from the world of business and marketing. And I feel like I should clear this up now instead of later. We don't just cover tech news because it's interesting. We cover it because it affects you and your marketing. If you aren't keeping up with these things, you're going to be left behind. So yeah, that makes sense, but why do we cover things like gaming consoles? Several reasons. Have you seen Xbox Live? If so, how long do you think it'll be before there's some sort of advertising involved? Have you considered the idea that games might be constructed in the future with subroutines to allow for regular advertisements? The line between game console and personal computer is already blurred, and it's going to continue to blur. I don't have to tell you that. You already know that. The thing is, we, as business owners, tend to have blinders on. Some of us are blind to the wants and needs of our customers, so we fail. Some of us are blind to our best target demographics, so we fail. Some of us are blind to the basic things like properly managing our books, and we fail. Being blind to technology, especially as it progresses from here on out, is the surest way to fail on all of those fronts and more. This is about communication. And there are businesses out there that actually think the best place to advertise is the phone book. Now, perhaps I'm underqualified to judge that position as I haven't cracked open a phone book in several years. When it's delivered to my doorstep, I don't even pick it up. It just sits there for months. My nosy neighbor next door usually ends up picking it up and then knocking on my door just to hand it to me. She's so sick of seeing it. So I suspect that the phone book and print in general are passé for marketing. Now, humanity is a communicative species. We can't help but communicate, and that's what defines us. Contrary to what you might have heard, it wasn't our intelligence that made us the dominant species on the planet. It was our ability to communicate. Our ability to say, you go that way and I'll go this way, is what made our ancestors deadly hunters. Our ability to say, okay, what's the problem here? How do we solve it? Is what kept us from killing each other. The ability to record our greatest discoveries and then pass them on to others, even generations later, is why we have the life and comforts that we have. The progression of communication is in our genetics. So when a new form of communication is introduced, it's very easy to turn a blind eye. But if that communication breakthrough is either more efficient or more convenient, it's going to gain popularity quickly. If you aren't following it, you'll miss out on your customers will miss out on you, and your competitors will be there to enjoy the spoils. Now, not everything we discuss on this podcast is going to be a winner. I might even venture to say that most of the things we mention on this podcast are doomed to failure. But just because one breakthrough fails doesn't mean it doesn't contribute to or inspire a chain of greater breakthroughs. If you pay attention to our tech news, you will always know what's the latest in communication devices or any other medium of communication that should arise, and you'll know it before anyone else you know. So our commitment to you, our viewers and listeners, is that we'll keep you ahead of the curve as long as you give us less than a half hour every few days. And that's the big data.
And now the Intel.
Now let's move on to some tech news. Intel is reportedly prioritizing voice control for the 2013 Haswell Ultrabooks. This is incredibly fortuitous, as Windows 8 is already designed for speech recognition technology. IntelliPaper reveals disposable, paper-based USB drives. The memory capacity currently is only between 8 and 32 megabytes, but they are reusable for as long as you can take care of them. Samsung has leaked a photo ad of a new television design they intend to unveil for the 2013 Consumer Electronics Show. The ad seems to indicate that the new set will either eschew the common landscape orientation or simply allow portrait orientation as well. Details of the photo ad also lead to speculation that the new television may also be a transparent screen. This technology has already been unveiled by Samsung for their flat-screen computer monitors. After winning a significant lawsuit against Samsung, Apple has decided not to include Samsung's Galaxy S2 Mini in their patent infringement case. But don't get your hopes up on getting one, though, as one condition was that Samsung won't sell the mini tablet in the United States. Musicians may see their sampling and composing work become much simpler with the RE Sound Bottle. The device, shaped like a quart-sized liquor bottle, collects sounds from the outside world and then on demand plays them back as music. Its inventor, Jun Fujiwara, has only created a prototype, but it's garnered enough buzz that it's overwhelming. With the launch of the Nintendo Wii U, anticipation grows regarding which upcoming consoles will light the market and which will fail. Sony's PlayStation 4 and Microsoft's Xbox 720 should be entering the fray very soon. Nowadays, your smartphone can do just about anything. A company called TaskLab would like to see it do even more. Now they've introduced the TaskOne, which literally turns it into a Swiss Army knife as well. Not only can you use it to chat on the phone, play games, or browse the web, but you can also use it to whittle wood, crack open a beer bottle, or do minor repairs around the house. If all that isn't enough, Hyundai says that by 2015, your smartphone may even be your car keys. Their emerging technology allows your car to interact with your phone and, based on proximity, can also adjust your mirrors and car seat to your preferred specifications. So don't lose your phone. You may not be able to get into your car. And so that's all the news that's really fit to print on this particular show. I want to say thank you to all. Richard?
Well, that's this episode of the Omnia Intel Podcast. Remember, you can view a transcript of this episode at omniastrategics.com. You'll also find other informative videos, links, tools, and services. If you like what you've heard today, go ahead and click the subscribe button or check out any of the videos you see on your screen here. Our show is written by myself, Tony Reed, and Anthony DeBello, the co-founders of Omnia Strategics. If you got something to say about any of this, comment below and let us know. Goodbye for now.